Brothers and sisters and friends, this afternoon we want to talk about the ballot or the bullet. The ballot or the bullet explains itself. We have a fight that's common to all of us. We suffer political oppression, economic exploitation, and social degradation. Today it's time to stop singing and start swinging.
Hey. Good morning.
Hey, swing away.
First Sky Omaha in the morning. Fresh edition. Ooh, you gotta put the falsetto on it this morning. Huh?
Yeah, a little bit.
What's up? Welcome to a fresh edition on this Monday, May the 19th.
Yeah.
Welcome. Happy Monday.
Malcolm X Day. Happy Malcolm X Day. Yeah, man. Yeah. Today is the day officially.
Today is the day, and boy, has everybody been celebrating,
man,
this past weekend.
Man, nationwide,
worldwide,
maybe even the world. Yeah, exactly.
Big time. Well, welcome back. Appreciate you guys getting up early on this morning with us. Of course, today is our special 2-hour show because we're going to be speaking to Senators Ashlei, Spivey, and Senator Terrell McKinny. Put some respect on their names towards the second hour. So I hope that you stick with us throughout the whole show and get your questions ready. We're days away from the end of the session here. On top of that, so man. So lots going on in the legislature. We'll definitely have been waiting to talk to them about some things. It's been going on all week long, and we'll be talking to them. And also, we just got confirmed Senator Roundtree will be with us on Wednesday.
Hey,
so this will be a week of us kind of wrapping up what's going on. And of course, we always want to give a shout out to our partners over there at Swing Left Nebraska, doing their Unpacking the Camera Week 19. They're also following this week by week. So definitely go wherever you get your podcast and check out Unpacking the Unicamera from Swing Left Nebraska podcast, and get even more information on what's going on in the legislature. In the meantime, before we get rolling, how you doing over there, buddy?
Man, doing good. Still kind of getting things a little in order. We got a lot to talk about today, but it was a very eventful weekend. I'm a little tired, boss. Not gonna lie to you. Could have used a couple more winks. Might try to sneak in a shower or a nap. Ooh, that just shows you how tired I am. A nap at some point throughout today. But yeah, man, very Omaha weekend, even down here in Atlanta. Went to the Malcolm X celebration down here on the West End over the weekend. So felt celebrating Omaha's own.
That's what's up.
And then yesterday, young brother named Shotty Man. Yeah, I'm gonna be talking about him a lot more. Young artist out of Omaha that's down here making some waves. He had a festival last night. Ooh. And I actually ended up DJing and ran into a few Omaha folk out there, man. So yeah, very, very, very Omaha weekend out here in Atlanta. Okay,
yeah. That's what's up. Yeah, can't wait to see who you ran into out there. Talk about it a little bit. I see you jumping into the chat. So good morning to you. Cameron Snipes says this is good morning. Leigh Keister says happy marvelous Monday to all. Appreciate you. Judy Printer says happy rain day to all. Yes.
Yeah.
It's gonna be raining all day today. It's one of them rainy days here in Omaha. Yeah. Pop says good Monday morning and mad love from Las Vegas. Marlon Harrison says good morning First Sky family and happy 100th birthday to Omaha native and civil rights icon Malcolm X.
Icon.
Very complete title. Appreciate that very much. Leah Keese is in the chat saying thanks. How you doing this morning? Appreciate you doing what you do too. Marlon Harrison says, buddy, have been seeing the foolishness at FAMU. Shake my head.
Yeah.
I wondered if you wanted to talk about that.
I mean, you're talking about the presidential selection and yeah.
For those who don't know, that's Buddy's alma mater. So stuff you read in the news, I'm sure every time I read something, I'm just like, I wonder what Buddy's thinking over there.
Yeah, man, my family, as we call each other, we're pretty upset. Everybody's pretty upset, man. Will Packer, if you know, famed director Will Packer, Stomp the Yard, director, wrote a whole letter about it. Yeah, people's pretty upset. Yeah.
About what? You gotta tell me about what? What are they upset about?
I haven't kind of really looked into it, but there's a whole new selection process for the university president, and there's been some controversy in the past. So past presidents being funny with the money, not really doing the best things with the money, not really keeping the university in mind. And there's a lot of endowments, a lot of just a lot of money coming through that school from sponsorships, all kinds of things. So coupled with all kind of other controversy just in the operation of the university. Well, yeah, they apparently selected a president that a lot of people were vocal about not wanting, not accepting, not being very high about, and yet, due to corporate interest and not really caring about the people, which seems to be a lot of the par for the course for a lot of leadership and bureaucracy around here. Yeah, they just went with their own interests, which a lot of people are upset about.
Well, that's too bad, especially in this day and age with this administration, with funds being questioned. The question on how HBCUs are getting funds at all, and so any little controversy, I get real nervous in this day and age on that stuff.
Yeah, man.
We'll have to get to that another time. In the meantime, between time, I'm definitely going to jump into a few of the community updates that's going on. Of course, we already talked about it being the 100th anniversary of Malcolm X. This is Malcolm X Day that got inducted here in Nebraska last year. So this will be the second one that we're celebrating, Malcolm X Day, going on here in Nebraska. And of course, everybody around the world is really celebrating this. And shout out to the Malcolm X Memorial Foundation here, and everything that they just put on this weekend too has been getting worldwide attention again. Daughter of Malcolm X come to speak. Dead Prez played last Saturday night. So yeah, it's been a big thing. If you guys went out to any of the festivities for the Malcolm X 100 celebration, let us know. Love to hear about your experiences there as well, and we really appreciate it. Also, I see Sean McCarthy in the chat saying, "Morning, everyone. Hope everyone had a good weekend." That's what we're talking about right now, man. Lots of weekend activities that went down in a big way. Of course, the Empowerment Network had their conference as well. I know that there's chat chimers that went to that, so I'd love to hear about that from you. If you would, that woman is in the chat. Miss Erica Feld, good morning. She says, I have littles arriving to the play school any minute, but wanted to check in and say I'm watching the replay this afternoon. I missed the comments, but look forward to seeing my senator. All right, appreciate that. Yeah. Do us a favor if you miss any parts of this show, go back to YouTube and check out previous episodes. And I appreciate you checking in this morning, Miss Erica Felt. And I appreciate your post that you put in Friends of First Sky Omaha about Brother Sass. As a matter of fact, I'll transition right to that, man. For those of you who know Adam Fletcher Sass, he's been writing North Omaha history. That's how we know him. And he kind of put a post out the other day saying he's off. He's driving to Canada. He's out of here. And it's pretty interesting what he had to say about all of that. He says, "Oh, that's the wrong. I'm looking at the wrong. I pulled the wrong quote. Here it is, right here. He's basically saying, we didn't know this, but he is Canadian, and basically the gist is that he's been real nervous about the fact that he might be deported, because that's been happening. Says, friends and family, I want to explain what's happening. In February, I started tracking stories of deportations of green card holders from the media. Some of you know that I have one, and although I lived in the U.S. since I was young, I am Canadian. I felt threatened before because of it, especially during the Iraq War, since politicians did some saber rattling about deporting immigrants. Out of fear, I got quiet politically and stayed mostly that way for 20 years. Then my tracking list grew so long, 2,100 people, as of early April, and despite being limited, Canadians have gotten deported. Then his rhetoric about Canada as a U.S. state began, and the immigrant detentions were referred to as just the start. Basically, he goes on to say that he just preempted all that and decided he was going to go ahead and move back where his family's at, even though he has no friends, no contacts, no means of employment or anything out there. But he felt like it was time to go. So kind of lost somebody who was really diligent in keeping track of what was going on in North Omaha history. We always have his books and his articles, and but yeah, man, Chad Chimer, for fearing for their status here in this country, which is going to be a little bit about what we talk about today. So I just wanted to give a shout out to Adam Fletcher Sass, all the work he did. Shout out to Miss Erica Feld for posting that, bringing that to our attention. Super interesting that that brother decided that that's what he's going to do. I've talked to lots of people that wanted to leave the country over what's going on. And here's a Chad Chimer that actually did this for a bunch of different reasons. So wild. RG gives us a good morning. Appreciate that. Pop says his story is so sad it hurt my heart to read his account. Yeah, I hear that. Also, Kimber says I was at Black Wall Street this weekend. Got back last night, so I missed everything this weekend.
Man,
Black celebrations kind of going on everywhere.
it's been a blackity black week.
It's
I told you you should have named this episode that, man. I'm telling you, blackity black week.
Yeah, you're definitely right. I'll run through a couple more things that are going down real fast. Big Wade, of course, is playing at Noma. The Noma Cafe is happening May 20th, so that's actually tomorrow, 7 p.m. You want to go see some good music? Definitely check that brother out. Also, brother Nathan Murray's show is underway at the Union for Contemporary Art. Lots of good things happening over there. Changes, hires, new people working, new people instructing, all kinds of stuff going on over there. And they've been heavy on the block lately. And so this has been great. His opening reception was May 17th. It's going to run through June 28th. Highly suggest you go to Union for Contemporary Art and check out this brother's incredible work. Of course, he's best known for the bust of Malcolm X that he did for Malcolm X Day and for the Malcolm X Nebraska Hall of Fame entry. And that's coming up a lot right now during this celebration, during this Malcolm X Day. So, very, very cool, very interesting stuff for sure. Also, this has been floating around, friends of, a lot. As a matter of fact, about 14 times this has been sent to me. So nice. I guess everybody is really behind this. This is a girls only wrestling clinic.
Hey.
That's what's up. Saturday, June 7th is coming up. Mark it on your calendar. Omaha North Girls Wrestling Room at 4410 North 36th Street in Omaha. It's going to be from 8 to 11. There's lunch provided. So I got some pricing down here, too. Of course, you see the QR codes. You can hit and get more information. Or you can go to, I believe it's Stephen.Kirchner at ops.org is who you can contact about this. Phone number is 531-333-6071. So,
man,
this definitely check it out. What's up,
man? That's Brittany Taylor, man. You might not know about Brittany Taylor, but I know about Brittany Taylor. Yeah. I went to high school with her, man. Again, shout out to Viking Wrestling. Been producing champions for a while. And she was definitely one of them back in about 2010, 2011, 08, 09, 10, 11. She was a beast to say the least, and even was giving the boys all they could handle, like talk about real girl power, superwoman. Big shout out to Brittany Taylor. Passing it forward, man, teaching the next generation of young girls how to get busy, how to get down.
That's what's up. I appreciate that. Right here on the flyer it says first female in Nebraska history to walk in Nebraska history to walk the parade of champions.
Come on, man.
Place at state 2016 Olympic trials qualifier, 2010 NSAA Class A state runner-up, 2009 Class 5 place, head coach. Okay.
Come on, man.
Doing some
Come on, man. V's up.
That's what's up, man. I appreciate that very much. Also, our friends over there at Omaha Land Bank, they have a symposium coming up, and they teamed up with Omapod in order to check it out. You can go to as a matter of fact, let me just grab you the Omapod link, and this is the podcast that you can hear some of the details that they are going to be bringing out for what's going on with this this year's R2U symposium. So learn more about it, and they're reaching out to Omapod to do some podcast speaking as well. Remember, we had some folks on from Land Bank back in the day, so we could try to keep up with what they got going on and continue to learn about how to utilize what's going on with the land bank. So Reignite to Unite Omaha is happening again this year. And to learn more about it, check out the Omapod episode. Link is in the chat. So yeah, appreciate that very much. Also, this is a very interesting map that came up here. Omaha World Herald put out of the percentage of people that voted for Ewing as opposed to Stothard, which I thought was really interesting as far as the gaps between these percentages.
Man.
Yeah, big changes is happening. And I also read something this morning that reminded me the Lincoln mayor is also Democrat. What's going on with the Democrats?
We're talking about it.
We'll be talking about it for sure. That'll do it. We'll come back and talk a little bit more about some haps and stuff a little later on in the show. But before I throw it to Buddy, just wanted to jump in to the chat real quick. Miss Erica Feld is saying, I don't blame him. It's better to go back on your own instead of likely being incarcerated for a time then being dumped at the border without your belongings or money.
Mm.
Yeah, big time, man. Kimra is letting us know a lot about what she did over there in at probably Black Wall Street. Is this what you're talking about? She says, number one, the link between neighborhood investment and youth outcomes; two, barriers to civic engagement in high poverty and marginalized communities; and three, the feasibility of creating a neighborhood level data infrastructure. You laying it
Mm.
out. You laying
No,
it out.
more context on that. She said Senator McKinney drafted 3 interim study ideas. I sent him and submitted them. So,
That's what's up.
man,
Yes, yes.
okay.
I'm glad that went down.
So
All right, go
studies
ahead.
on the link between neighborhood investment and youth outcomes. Please.
Yeah, you got some internet issues going on there a little bit, so you might want to check your cord.
Okay.
Yeah, that's I've heard of some other folks that are doing some studies. I haven't heard what has come of it, so I'm glad to see that this is happening with you, Kimmer, and Senator McKinney. That's great. Also, Sean McCarthy says I went to Nathan Murray's opening at the Union for Contemporary Art. The sculptures are incredible. Yeah, man, that guy is super talented. I appreciate you going and patronizing over there. Brooke gives us a good morning, and shout out and congratulations to my sister for graduating. That's what happened on Friday. UNO graduation over there at Baxter Arena. Shout out to my sis graduating with honors. That's what's up. That's what's up. We need more art soldiers, art teachers in the world. So that's really what's going on. Appreciate you and congratulations on the new job. Shout out to my sis.
Hey.
We were there sitting around waiting for her to be able to go up on stage. But we did get a chance to hear Bud Crawford speak. He was the keynote speaker at the graduation there on Friday. So got to hear Bud speak. So that was cool. So yes, it was a good weekend, man. Good. Definitely a jam-packed weekend, full of stuff
Indeed.
in a big way.
Indeed.
And it's all good. Shout out, Brooke. You worked hard. I watched you up close and personal, working hard for some years on this one. So you deserve it. Appreciate it. With that, I'm gonna go ahead and throw it over to Buddy. We're already past time for our break at 7:17. So go ahead and throw it to you, Buddy, to get to what we're gonna be talking about today. Very interesting thread happening. And if you're just joining us, remember, this is the special 2-hour show today. We have Senators Ashlei, Spivey, and Terrell McKinny coming on the second hour to talk about what's going on in the legislature, because there are only a few more days left in the legislature, as a matter of fact. So, yeah, it's coming. But in the meantime, between time, what's going on, Buddy? What are we talking about today?
Man, first of all, we are live, so I'm gonna just do a quick tech check. Like, and how am I looking? How am I sounding? Before I, get into my spiel, I don't want no disruptions or distractions. How we looking?
Yeah, we all we can do is hope and wish.
Keep on hoping.
Internet's like it's supposed to.
Man, indeed. But we're here. So appreciate y'all for tuning in. Thank you. I appreciate your love and your support as always. Let your mind be free. Let your voice be heard. We have a lot to talk about, and a thread I want to lay out. Man, there's some things happening that are all connected. But first, start with my weekend. Again, a very, very Omaha weekend, even down here in Atlanta, kicking off Saturday. We all celebrated together. We all cousins, man. Saturday was Malcolm X party. That's what it was around the world. Around the world, big time. So big shout out to Atlanta for again honoring Omaha's own Malcolm X. Went to that on Saturday. Felt very, very proud. So yeah, man, big shout out to the Malcolm X Memorial Foundation and the work that they're doing, leading and again honoring Brother Malcolm at the birth ground. The Autobahn where he died, they have their own, but we talk about life. We talk about where he was born, and not just Malcolm, but also Reverend Little, his father, and his mother, the Little family, and the legacy that they were pushing in the Omaha area. So big shout out to everybody who stepped out. Let us know if you were able to make it out to see Dead Prayers, who got down in Omaha. Man, yeah, a lot of things going on. I believe the meeting of the minds, I think that's still going on, or I think there's still
happened.
It all happened. Okay. So if you made it to any of the events, because there was a lot going on, please let us know how your experience was. Also on Saturday or Sunday, continuing the Omaha vibes. I actually got my shirt on. Shout out to Omaha's own Shotty Man.
Hey, okay.
Yeah, Shotty Fest. Actually, you got that picture. I wasn't just a Shotty Man there. I ran into my man Vado, who we've had on the show. Again, if you know about DJ Vado, yep, out there in Atlanta. He was pushing the artists that he's working with. He's down here in Atlanta also doing big things. Yeah. Got to represent, man. Got to link up. Omaha's own. They're still making that Omaha Atlanta connection. So big shout out to DJ Votto doing some big things. Actually working with Omaha's own Katie Rain on some things as well. So yeah, heavy on the Omaha connection on that one. So very excited, still high on that one after this weekend. So big shout out to everybody. And again, Omaha's own Shotty Man. If you haven't heard about him, young artist, he's actually making some moves. I sent you a mixtape cover. He has a new mixtape out with DJ Holiday. If anybody remembers the old holiday season mixtapes, with Southern artists like Lil Wayne, Young Jeezy, T.I., and now Shotty Man, Omaha's own Shotty Man, got a mixtape with DJ Holiday. If anybody's into the hip hop, check him out. Represent.
I like these early 2000s graphics they got going on here.
Yeah. So again, just support Omaha. Support Omaha. It's all about Omaha, everything, even here. So definitely excited about that. But with that out the way, again, we have a lot to talk about because again, it's not just the entertainment that's Omaha, but it's been a blackity black week. I'm sure we've seen the national coverage that's been going on with Omaha's first black mayor. Yeah,
for real.
Very blackity black Omaha week. It seems like Omaha is just kind of on the mind all over the place. So that's definitely what we want to talk about today. Is not just Omaha, but what this means as far as Omaha having its new black mayor and how this plays a role in the larger fight. And actually going to tie that into what we were talking about earlier, where brother Adam Fletcher Saz and his fling from the states, because this is all connected. Like going back to brother Malcolm, as far as again, Malcolm X leaving Omaha from some pressures and oppression, and his family having to flee their home. And now maybe more of us might have to think about that. So we'll be talking about deportation today. That is the conversation today. Deportation, fleeing your home, and oppression abroad. Again, over the weekend, Flatwater Free Press released an article talking about a mass email that went out that scared some individuals that are in our state looking for and striving for a better future here in the United States. So of course, we'll be talking about what brother Adam Fletcher Saz had to say. Also, Department of Homeland Security, according to Democracy Now!, putting a call out for 20,000 National Guards in order to assist with this mass deportation situation. And of course, we talked about how far this conversation can reach, again, with the possibility of now birthright citizenship being questioned. Paul, you had mentioned to me about the 76-year-old elderly woman who couldn't get a driver's license because she didn't have a birth certificate. But we know about that history. But again, what does this mean for the future? So that's what we'll be talking about here today. Also in the second hour, as we know, it is our Senator Cypher. We'll be getting in a conversation with our senators, Ashlei, Spivey, and Terrell McKinny. Put some respect on their names. A lot of things happening in the legislature in regards to the final 10 days of the session, some budget conversations and decisions being made. So yeah, all that and more. Of course, if there's anything on your hearts and minds that we're not talking about, drop that into the chat. In the meantime, between time, Paul B.
Yo.
What's the word?
Man, we'll take a quick break and we'll come on back and jump into the conversation. Appreciate everybody that is here today and jumping in. Brother Fulton, I'm gonna give you a warning. We don't need to come in with that kind of rhetoric here on the show. Appreciate it. We've just been ignoring your comments about Senator Justin Wayne this whole time, but nobody's talking about that. So if you would please direct your comments to the topics of conversation here. Cool. Don't get blocked. Appreciate that. Before we go to a break real quick, also Anthony Rogers Wright is asking the question becomes, how is Mr. Ewing going to stand up to Trump beyond MSNBC interviews? Will he declare Omaha to be a sanctuary city? Lots of good questions. Lots of good questions that we'll definitely jump into. But before we do, we'll take a quick break and we'll come back and jump into this conversation. You're listening to First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
My name is Paul B. He's Buddy the Gawd. This is our show. We'll be right back.
Lead poisoning in children under 7 is scary, but it's also 100% preventable. Not only can lead be found in paint and soil, it can be found in many common spices, certain baby foods, and brought home from job sites. Children with lead poisoning might not show any symptoms until their levels are dangerously high. So ask your healthcare provider for a lead test for your child. You can help prevent lead poisoning in children.
Shout out to Douglas County Health Department for getting down with us on that message. We're always looking to make sure that we can solve these lead problems that we got, especially in North and South Omaha. So appreciate them, reaching out to us and saying, hey, this is your audience needs to hear this and wants to know about it. And we got some resources there. So let's get down. So appreciate it very much. Before we get to it, also, I'm trying to see what Miss Erica Feld is talking about. I'll jump to her second comment. She says, I appreciate my Senator Ashlei Spivey, her transparency and how she educated us on the legislative process at her town halls. Was great seeing Senator McKinny when I spoke at the cannabis town hall. Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, you letting us know that you spoke over there. You got to tell us about how that went down. Appreciate that very much and appreciate your comment. Yes, if you're just joining us, of course, this is our special 2-hour show. At 8 o'clock, we'll be speaking to the senators. It'll be the Senator Cypher going down. Senator Ashlei Spivey, Senator Terrell McKinny will join us, and we'll be talking about it. And then tune in Wednesday because we'll have Senator Roundtree on for the first time to talk about what's going on with him and the fight that's happening with Pillin, who has been vetoing very important bills.
Pillin been illin'.
Pillin been illin'. We got lots to talk about. Appreciate that very much. Wanda Lewis says we have to deal with Pillin for the starters. Yeah, that's the problem. We have a new Democratic mayor, and there's and also an older Democratic mayor in Lincoln. We got a couple major cities that have some Democratic mayors. A lot of people around the country are thinking this means there's some big changes happening.
Man,
but is that gonna make any differences in a red state? We'll be talking about it. Let's go ahead and jump into our first subject, buddy. What's on the agenda?
Man, I mean, it's all kind of wrapped up. Again, this is kind of interesting how stories tend to line into each other and just the overall conversation of who belongs in this country. Whose country is this? Who will be able to stay in this country? It's kind of becoming more and more questionable as far as the future goes for all of us. And again, I'll start with Brother Malcolm and taking it from the Omaha area to the world, really. And starting again with the family of the Littles, big shout out, as we'll be speaking to Senator McKinney a little later on in the show. And he was finally, after several attempts, actually, the senator able to get Brother Malcolm inducted into the Hall of Fame in the state of Nebraska. And again, for those who are unsure why that is such a huge feat, just listen to how the Little family left the state. So to leave a state under these circumstances and to finally be acknowledged is a huge state. Again, Brother Malcolm X, born Malcolm Little, in Omaha, left Omaha after serving harassment from white supremacists. This according to the article from the Nebraska Examiner. Again, before Malcolm X was 2 years old, he evolved from a street hustler who, while in prison, became self-educated and converted to the Nation of Islam. Of course, he eventually completed a pilgrimage to Mecca to become Malcolm X and had a new outlook on life. This new outlook is what has now driven him to be the international icon that he is now. Again, at 39 years old, he was about to give speech in New York City in 1965. The father of 6 daughters, one of whom just came to Omaha, was shot multiple times at close range by 3 gunmen identified as members of the Nation of Islam. Again, shout out to Senator McKinney, who represents North Omaha and was able to get this man recognized. But again, his story reminds us of the battle that really a lot of us are still facing, striving to find a place where we belong, striving to find a place where we, can call home, can feel like we're home. And maybe some of these political changes signals a good step forward in that fight. Of course, we've been talking about Omaha's first black mayor. A lot of people excited about that scene. But again, what does that mean? As Brother Anthony Rogers Wright is expressing some skepticism about what that means. And we kind of talked about that on Friday as far as what that means for Cop City and whether or not Mayor Ewing will show support for Cop City and kind of echo the whole law and order regime that we're seeing kind of trickle down from Trump all the way down to, the city level. But what does that mean also for deportation? Again, there's been some battles, some back and forth. Actually, Nebraska Examiner just released an article, Paul, that you mentioned earlier about not only Mayor Ewing, but Lincoln's mayor also being a Democrat. And what does this mean for the landscape in Nebraska? The political dynamics, according to the article of the state, are bound to change with now Democrats holding leadership positions in two of the state's largest municipal governments. Again, at the same time, the Nebraska legislature continues to drift toward a more conservative brand of Republicans, something we'll get into a little later on. But in states where blue-led cities face a steep recline for funding policy changes, again, Republican-dominated legislatures work to undermine some of the goals pursued by Democrats. So one of those examples, of course, as we've seen, is the fight between the state and mayors pushing for a new prison. Again, we've talked about prison. The prison was set at about $350 million, and now it's been reported that it's going to be actually closer to $800 million in taxpayer dollars being used for this prison. However, Lincoln's mayor, Gaylor Baird, actually pushed back towards that, and there's been some back and forth. I think they're still struggling to find a location to build this prison, and actually has been some pressure. But just before we develop this conversation, what do we think as far as those who voted for Mayor Ewing? What do you expect as far as standing up against Trump?
And before and without glossing over that example too much, that situation there is a good example of what I'm kind of thinking is going to happen here too. Here that Nebraska Examiner article brought out one local example. Lincoln's mayor and Nebraska Governor Jim Pillen disagreed on where that state prison should be located in 2023. Initially, Baird said she didn't want a prison in Lincoln. But the state threatened to put it in a residential Lincoln neighborhood until she relented on the state's original proposed site. So much to unpack about that example. First of all, this tactic of threatening to put it somewhere in a residential place because he didn't like the fact that she didn't want it in Lincoln in the first place, and the fact that she relented. How is it that where was her power at if she had to relent and go ahead and put make sure, go ahead and say that it was going to be on the proposed site that the state originally wanted? How much this is indicative of fights that have been happening with the Lincoln Democratic mayor and the governor, and it's going to be more of the same. I feel like with Omaha's now Democratic mayor. So we still live in a red state. How much pushback are they going to get? I know that Brother Ewing is ready for the fight. I don't have any doubts that the Lincoln mayor has been fighting this whole time. But when it's all said and done, look what kind of tactics they'll use to get their way on stuff, which is kind of wild to me. I'll put it in a residential neighborhood then if you don't want it. You know what I'm saying? Like, get out of here with that childish mess.
Paternalism is the word that you use.
Right. This is what they're going to have to be dealing with. So what does that mean? Also, in the chat earlier, there was Anthony Rogers Wright talked about some good news. Even the conservative SCOTUS justices demonstrated lots of skepticism about Trump ending birthright citizenship could be a 7-2 vote against Trump. So this stuff is still a battle, but we also were seeing how our state and the governor of our state is really backing a lot of what Trump is doing, and is trying to impose that on the state. You know what I'm saying? So there, there's battles all over the place, and there's here too. Now, I do feel like it's going to be a little bit of a new day because there is, Brother Ewing is not a Republican. What is that going to mean? I mean, we know that we have problems with Democrats as well. So, how is that going to work? What is it going to mean? I do feel a little bit of hope that they'll be thinking a little bit more about Omaha in with having Brother Ewing as mayor. But where's his power going to be at? Where is he going to be able to fight the governor on things if they're even going to fight? Where is he going to be lining up with the governor on stuff? These are questions I have.
Well, let me throw this in there, and I'll kind of throw this to the chat as well. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat, but there is a thing that I've come to learn called home rule, which allows. I don't know if Lincoln has home rule, but I do know that Omaha has home rule. We kind of seen that play out during the pandemic when Governor at the time Pete Ricketts had his perspective of how to handle and how to approach handling the pandemic, and there are some slightly different approaches in Omaha per se as far as how it was handled. And home rule again gives a little more autonomy to the city of Omaha and the mayor of Omaha to make their own decisions. But again, I don't know how far that will stretch, especially when you talk about things like law and order. Somebody as Mayor Ewing, who was a former police officer, and that's kind of where I'm thinking of this whole deportation conversation as far as law and order. Again, who belongs in this country? Brother Anthony Rogers Wright, presented the idea of Omaha becoming a sanctuary city. I do think because of home rule that Mayor Ewing might have the power to do that. To kind of answer your question, what kind of teeth does he have? But what is the likelihood of that? I don't know. I don't know as far as a sanctuary city, but I do think that we will see some kind of pushback, especially with some of the things that were happening under Starther. We haven't really talked about it in extension, but there has been reports of Douglas County specifically speaking to ICE about using Douglas County's facility, the Douglas County Jail, to serve as a detention center for ICE detainees. So not just those who are breaking laws in Nebraska, but anyone who ICE determines needs to be detained and deported could be held in Douglas County Jail. And actually, according to this article, Douglas County has made money off of this. This isn't just them following along. This is big business. According to the article, between 2019 and 2021, the county pulled in a whopping $1.8 million in federal money from the agreement. Corrections Director Mike Myers told First Alert 6 the county was coming out ahead even after the cost of housing ICE detainees, saying when there was sufficient numbers of individuals being detained here, yes, it was a revenue positive for Douglas County. So again, it's not just Mayor Ewing and his feelings about political leanings, but it's going to be hard to dig into the pockets of Douglas County.
Yeah. Anthony Rogers Wright in the chat is answering your question. It says, yes, the city of Lincoln, Nebraska operates under a home rule charter. This means it has a greater degree of autonomy in governing itself compared to cities that operate under general state laws. Yep. So yeah. I'm glad you remember that and brought that up for sure. It's all a play, and it feels to me like we got to see. I mean, there's other things too that I think that we're probably leaving out as far as who's going to be on the side of Ewing. What kind of team will he have? What kind of backing will he have? Seems like he's got a lot of backing in a lot of places. But again, we're in a red state. Pillin is on the stuff that Trump's on, and he got a lot of support for that too in legislature and everywhere else. So it's a good question to ask. Pops says, and if Trump does not respect or follow the demands of the court, what difference does any of it make if it can't stop him? Birthright, citizenship, and everything else is in dire trouble. Yeah, this is true. I do believe that there's so many points at which a fight can happen, though, that this 7-2, it might be a 7-2 vote. News is hopeful, because that means, first of all, people are fighting, but second of all, there's stopgaps everywhere, and I feel like he's barreled through a whole bunch of them, but he's getting held up on a lot of them, and there's just, to me, a lot of things at play. Here.
I would say it like this. While there are a lot of things at play, stopgaps, a lot of deportation cases being challenged and wrapped up in court, firings. There's a lot of things going on, but the reality is people are still feeling the pressure, and people are still being deported, regardless of to Pop's point. They're trying to stop Trump, but it's still going forward. It's still happening, and people are really scared in a real way. And actually, some of the things that are coming out of the Department of Homeland Security, which kind of makes me feel like Trump might, use that arm of the government as kind of a private army. And if other branches, i.e., the Congress, which he kind of has a stronghold on, or the Supreme Court, they try to step in the way. How will he use things like the Department of Homeland Security and National Guard? We've kind of seen the National Guard be utilized under Trump, if you remember, during the George Floyd protest. And basically, actually, Trump was using he already did it. He already showed an affinity to do this as far as using the National Guard for a private army of sorts, even threatening to unleash the National Guard on Democratic mayors. Speaking of Democratic mayors who didn't want to, crack down on protesters. And we've actually recently seen a mayor out of, I believe, Jersey just got arrested. If you heard about that story,
right.
Mayor out of Jersey just got arrested.
That's Amir Baraka's son. That was Amir Baraka's son that got arrested. Mayor of the city.
Come on, man, poet.
I forgot to talk about this.
Come on, man, but it's all wrapped up. That's
I was hot when I heard about it. And Anthony Rogers Wright is bringing a good point too. So they're not being deported; they're straight up being disappeared. And this brings up what we're not talking about. We talk about National Guard and everything else. What we're not talking about is ICE. The ICE military basically is what I'm looking at them like. They seem like they're going rogue. They seem like they're doing stuff above and beyond what it is they're supposed to be doing when it comes to stuff. It seems that there you go, brother Ross Baraka of Newark, New Jersey. Yep.
Yeah, man.
Man, I said they ain't about to arrest this dude. They're not about to arrest this dude. They just arrested this dude.
Yeah,
crazy.
Yeah, and it all gets deep, man. Like the more I think about this thread, the more I prepare for this show. It is craziness. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just on that because I think that we're not paying enough attention to that. I feel like ICE is on their own, got their own politic and their own army and they're doing stuff that the administration is fine with, but I don't know. I feel like they're doing stuff on their own even more than the administration is asking them to do it. And they're doing it in a brutal way. And like Anthony Rogers Wright is saying, straight up disappearing folks. So who you gonna call? The police, your local legislator. Who you gonna call if they're after you like that? Who's stopping that? Police ain't getting involved. Yeah. There's been so many videos that are out here with showing ICE detaining folks and grabbing folks out from their house and their church and their school and doing and disappearing folks and then of course there's the case where that one brother got sent over. The Trump administration admitted that it was a mistake. They still won't go get him out of El Salvadorian jail. I mean, it goes on and on what's going on with this. So, the real fear that's happening, yes, we can hope that, judges are going to come through here and votes are going to go the way they need to go. But like Pops is right. Like what happens if he's not following that rule. He's fighting all of that. So it's crazy. But again, at the same time those things go on, I feel like hopeful times go on as well. I feel like you see people fighting, it gives you hope. You see people fighting, it gives you energy. In the chat real quick, AJ Cunningham saying the energy in the city feels electric ever since John Ewing for Omaha won the election. Does feel electric for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Marlon Harrison says I was at the Empowerment Network conference and someone told me look up the Hollow Prize by New Orleans Data Center. Yeah, tell us what that is for sure. Pops is saying, ICE is becoming IRS, where their actions are untouchable and they are going buck wild. That's what I'm saying. It feels like their actions are untouchable right now. Mr. Eric Felt says when he was the president last time, ICE marched the streets of Oakland, California, and entered apartment buildings, banging on random doors as they went up and down. They threatened coffee shops who wouldn't serve them.
Man,
so it's worse now. It's definitely worse now. Michelle West in the chat. Good morning. Says, what about the judge that was arrested and indicted for allowing an individual to leave by the back door? Right. She's in the courthouse. ICE is standing outside waiting. She's like, send him through the back because this is not a place where ICE can just be standing around waiting to detain people that we're adjudicating right now. And they came back, arrested her, and indicted her for this, for that move. So there's lots there. To me, we haven't talked about it all the way, but of course, me coming up in California and feeling the brunt of that from friends and family that are there first. That was all. It's always been something looming. over my head and over my thought process. But this is one of the first times that I feel like it's everybody in the country is feeling like that. Adam Fletcher Sass is a Canadian feeling like he might get deported. It's a trip.
Again, it goes back to the question: who's safe?
Good question. Let's take a quick break and ponder that question, and we'll come back and talk about it. Also, stay tuned for the second hour today, 8 o'clock. We'll be having the Senator Cypher. Shout out to Senator Terrell McKinny and Senator Ashlei Spivey, who agreed to come on and talk about the final days in the session and what's going on with these bills. And by the way, too, I'll keep on saying it. We got, for the first time, Senator Roundtree coming on Wednesday to talk about the bill that he was pushing that our governor vetoed. So we'll be talking about that and more. But in the meantime, between time, stay tuned. We'll be right back. Again, you're listening to First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
My name is Paul B. He's buddy to Gawd.
Hey.
Yeah, stay tuned, y'all. Welcome back. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Paul B, buddy to Gawd. That's one of my favorite of your beats right there, buddy. That's one of my
Hey, thank you. Get down.
Yeah, it gets down. It definitely gets down. Y'all seen this? Plans for a Central Park
in Omaha?
In North Omaha.
North Omaha?
Yes.
Where?
Creighton is planning on building a Central Park. I don't know if that means they're buying up more of North Omaha, if they're coming more, if this is past, I'm not sure where this is at. Just wanted to know if anybody saw it and heard of it. Something that popped up on my radar early this morning. Have to dig in and find out what's going on. But we gonna have access to it. Where it's gonna be. What land are they using for that? Got lots of questions.
Man. No, that's right in line. Like it's all connected in the way of places and spaces, man. Where do we belong? Where can we just live and thrive without feeling the pressure, man, of getting pushed out? Because that's what that feels like. That's the undertone of the whole Creighton conversation encroaching on North Omaha.
Big time.
And even feeling it in Atlanta. You just sent me the report of Atlanta being gentrified to where it's been reported that it's not even a majority black city, and this was considered the black Mecca. What does that mean?
Space is the place is the next season. It'll be firing up on about July 15th. So yeah, no, that's also coming up to our break on June 15th. We'll be coming through. And then I will be doing some all kinds of stuff. So yeah, we'll be talking about it. But man, space is the place. It's already starting to be the theme on a lot of things. Before we move on, I just want to give a shout out to Marlon Harrison for coming back with that explanation. He talked about the Empowerment Networks conference. Someone told him to look up the Hollow Prize by New Orleans Data Center. He said the study talks about how when cities got mayors of color, governors tried to limit their power, and they told us that they don't want that to happen to Omaha. So a whole study on this very thing that we got going on right now, where we have a mayor of color and the governor's pushback, everything we're talking about right now. There's a study that we need to definitely check out. I appreciate you giving us that information. I'm anxious to read that. The Hollow Prize by New Orleans Data Center. So definitely, if you're so inclined to study out and see what's happening.
Makes sense. The Hollow Prize is a job with no teeth.
Kind of like the benevolent.
Only for show.
Right.
Exactly.
There you go. RG the chat. So when our elected Congress folks are going, when our elected Congress folks going to start the impeachment talks, and not necessarily Nebraska's Congress folks, since they're all in Trump's pocket.
Man,
Mr.
that part.
Rockefeller says last time he was president, I'm sure it was happening again. He deported natives from Arizona to Mexico. Shake my head. They had no ties to Mexico. Yeah, yeah. ICE is going crazy. ICE is going
Man,
nuts for sure.
man. Actually, I see you still in chat, but I want to dive into something what Mr. Rockefeller is talking about, and she's right. It is still happening. It's happening again, actually. Not necessarily as far as Native Americans being deported, but people who are here actually legally being threatened. This is a report out of the Flatwater Free Press as far as a mass email deportation scare. I don't know if you heard about this, but shout out to Natalia Alamdari and the good folks over at Flatwater Free Press for doing the work that they're doing. And this is definitely something we should all be looking out for, especially those of us who have, loved ones, family and friends who might be dealing with this. Apparently, there was a mass email that read, "It's time for you to leave the United States," just blatantly. "Do not attempt to remain in the United States. The federal government will find you." Apparently, this is an email that many received, thousands from the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. The mass email went out to migrants here illegally, though. That's the issue. Apparently, these are individuals who entered the United States using an app in a Biden-era program that gave people temporary legal status. That legal status, however, would be terminated in 7 days, according to the email. Their work authorization would end, and staying in the country could result to fines, prosecution, or even prison time. However, one of the attorneys representing these individuals, Blackford, thought when he saw the email, it actually didn't apply to many of his clients, saying that many of them had pending asylum applications, which allowed them to stay until that application process and a judge issued a final decision. Another had a pending green card application because he married a U.S. citizen. Similar situation to what Brother Adam Fletcher Sass says he found himself in as a green card holder from Canada, but again, felt like the pressure was mounting too much to stick around. And again, not just these emails indicating that, but as I mentioned earlier, Democracy Now! Reporting that the Department of Homeland Security has now asked the Pentagon, this just recently on Friday, to assign some 20,000 National Guard personnel to assist with Trump's mass deportation efforts. Again, it's not clear whether Trump would seek to federalize the National Guard, something that he's kind of, shown an interest in, as I mentioned in the past. Actually, this was last done officially to respond to the 1992 uprising in LA, which, Paul, you might be familiar with, following Rodney King. So again, just the similarities between the African-American plight to stay in this country, to find a place, to find a home, to just self-actualize, and what a lot of our brothers and sisters, not just Mexican nationals, but anybody, really everybody, seem like they can get it.
Yeah, man. The thing that's making everybody nervous is that that's the case. Trump has even been saying, like, this whole you're born here and so you're a citizen happened for it was for the children of slaves. He keeps on bringing that up, and doesn't really apply to everybody else and anything else. And all the things that's happening. We just talked last week or 2 weeks ago about this thing that you got to have on your ID now, the real ID stamp, in order for you to be even getting on planes domestically, traveling from state to state. Everybody's talking about making sure that they got their passports renewed and everything's cool with that. And all those things. And sometimes you got to go back and get your birth certificate. This is the thing that, for me, a person who did a lot of traveling coming up, was always a problem. If I had to get my license renewed or something was up, the hospital that I was born at no longer exists. So where is my hospital record? I did a whole bunch when I moved out of the country for a while. I had to do a whole bunch to find all that, and I got it now locked up because it was such a hassle to get it in the first place. And it just reminds me of what's going on now. If you don't got your birth certificate, go get it. Make sure you got it, because there might come a time where you are going to go try to get your license renewed, and you got to bring it. You got to show it. And if you birthed, my sister, somebody else was telling me, I think it was my sister telling me that even your name, if your birth name isn't the same as your married name, then they are tripping on whether or not you can get your license renewed. They're what they're trying to do is trying to act like more people than just people with green cards and stuff like that uh, are not supposed to be here. That case where the elderly woman of 76 years old went to go try to get her. She was born in a house like a lot of our ancestors were back in those days, and didn't have a birth certificate, and so could not get her license renewed recently because of the fact that she didn't have a birth certificate. So this is all stuff we got to worry about now. This is, you can talk
Yeah.
about what we got to do now. Have all that stuff in order. Have all of it.
Where's
in
your
order.
papers?
Where is your papers? You know that we talk about fascism and stuff all the time. You know that's a trope in Nazi movies and everything else. Well, show me your papers. You better have some papers.
Man, we got to start wearing Star David around here. Like, what's going on? What's really going on?
American Eagle tattooed on you.
Man,
Mama God in the chat said all this when cosplay Secretary Gnome is almost out of money. She is getting more to continue to violate folks. Interesting. Miss Cheryl Weston, Miss Cheryl Weston in the chat said yes. She knows about that Creighton Central Park plan. Says they're going all the way to 10th and Fahey Streets. Okay, I appreciate the info on that. We'll definitely be checking it out some more. So yeah, and she also says all of what Trump is doing in Project 2025. Yeah, this is something that he said he was going to try to do, and people got behind him. Ms. Hickerfeld says if you got your driver's license for state ID new or renewed in Nebraska in the last 3 years, you gave real ID, so you got a real ID already. But definitely check. I know I don't got one on mine. I got to go get mine renewed for real,
man.
Also, RG says if y'all don't have your birth certificate, Office of Vital Statistics down in Lincoln.
There you go.
Thank you for the info. I highly suggest you guys do what you got to do to get all that stuff together, because you just don't know what's going to happen.
Also says they can be ordered online and sent to you if you can't make it down to Lincoln yourself.
There you go. Appreciate all your comments. Everybody that's jumping in as well. Mama God stripping rights of everyone who is not straight and white male. Even some of them are scared right now, for real. Parents dropping off their children this morning, cheering to me. We have John for mayor. A black man is running our city. The vibe this morning is magical and hopeful. Don't want to forget that.
Man.
Don't want to forget that for
That part.
sure. Anthony Rogers Rice says now they're talking about a reality TV show where immigrants compete with each other to win citizenship. Have you heard this?
No. What?
That's real.
You heard about this?
Yes, I heard about this. This is very real. They're talking about a TV show where immigrants compete with each other to win citizenship. And what he says, we're sliding into decadence. We've been in the decadence, brother. We've been in, but this, yeah. No, that's a real pitch.
Is that the Hunger Games?
That's exactly what the guy said. The comment was, well, this is not the Hunger Games. This is his first comment back on that. This is not the Hunger Games.
What it sounds like. But what was the other one that was on Netflix?
Which one?
They had the red jumpsuits with the mask.
Squid Games, you talking about?
They just Squid Games. Yeah, put them through the Squid Games.
The Mr. Beast games.
Man.
Yeah, it's wildness. Wanda Lewis is reminding us your license needs to have the star in the top right corner. Definitely check this out and get it going, man. Get it going. That's really all it is. RG says,
what a time to be alive.
Like something that would only go down in the Trump era. Oh man, this is the reason everybody in his cabinet is somebody from TV. I'm surprised he don't got a show going already. The White House with Trump.
You're deported.
Von Chapman in the chat. Good morning, says James Comey, former director of the FBI, was picked by the Trump Gestapo and questioned about his references to 8647, getting rid of Trump through assassination. Amazing.
What?
Wild. Y'all be finding some stuff. Wild. Yeah, there you go, man. When democracy morphs into tyranny. Yeah. We grew up watching a whole bunch of movies about the Holocaust. A whole bunch of movies about. I just watched The Brutalist last night. and
Man,
him and his wife had to flee Nazi territory to come to America and try to do something. And a lot of them didn't get out. And some people saw the signs early and got out. Some people, leaned on their international connections and had their passports ready and some loot stashed away so they can jump on a boat and get somewhere. I'm not saying that, hey, some people are choosing not to do that. Some people are choosing to stay here and fight and say, look, we built this country. We don't want to hear about it. We're going to be here. We're
man.
going to stay here and fight. I think you should have both options.
And my question is, where we gonna go? Well, where you gonna go? Like, I'm thinking of Sister Michelle who went out to Ghana.
We can have some whole shows on that. Cities in Ghana and all kinds of other places are building whole cities for expats. You want to start talking about where, bro? Look, Anthony Rogers, right? What's your top three? It would be this situation in Ghana right now. It would be Mexico City for me, and believe it or not, Japan. I'd be looking at Japan. If I was
Really?
gonna try to go out of the country, yeah, most deaf.
I have heard about a few. I was saying I have heard about a few expat cities in Mexico. There's several expat cities in Mexico.
Yeah, most deaf. He said we don't need to watch movies about the Holocaust anymore. We just need to see the daily news reports of genocide in Gaza. For real,
man.
For real. Pop says they have had green card lottery for decades. I had a couple of friends from Australia actually won green cards. There's a green card lottery competition for green cards. So a TV show like that is not far off, bro. For real.
That's wild.
801 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, we're now in the second hour. RG in Black Dynamite of First Sky Omaha in the morning. We'll take a quick break and we'll come right back.
In the morning.
Oh yeah, my bad. We have our boy, you're glitching really bad right now. The internet.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
We got our special guest in the wings. We'll come back and talk to him as soon as we get back. Stay tuned. You're listening to First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
All B, Buddy to God. We'll be right back, y'all. Stay tuned. Done that at the front of the break. We're back. Welcome back. First Sky Omaha in the morning. Ooh, yeah, you got
in the morning
going there. Yeah, you might want to try to go ahead. I was gonna say you should do that at the front of the break. You
I'm
might
trying,
have to
y'all.
go ahead
I'm
and
trying.
do it. In the meantime, between time, we're going to go ahead and bring our first guest in, man. Senator Terrell McKinny, put some respect on his name, is in the house. Good morning, brother.
Hey, good morning. How y'all doing?
Doing good, man. Did we catch you on the way to the legislature this morning?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to come on anyway.
No problem.
Yeah. How's it going? How you been?
I've been good, man. Just chilling, trying to get ready, get done with this session, but I've been all right.
That's what's up. Like 9 days left in the session or something like that?
Yep,
9 days. Okay, cool. I know you're anxious to go ahead for that. I know you're probably waiting for that break to come on through.
for sure, man. It's overdue.
I hear that. We finally got a hold of Brother Roundtree. So Senator Roundtree gonna be on with us next on Wednesday, and he's gonna.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, we're finally gonna have him on and talk about the bill and what the veto that the governor did and the whole nine. So yeah, lots to talk about there. But with you, I know that you have priority bills and some things going on. What's your next 9 days looking like? What are you gonna be fighting for?
For me, it's to get my priority bill across the finish line. LB 48, which is the Family Resource Center bill. It's on final reading, but we got to bring it back for another amendment, and then it'll still be on final. Then I still have another two more committee bills that are on final that I need to get passed. But besides that, just pushing back on all the craziness that's going on today. We got to talk about a tax bill that's trying to raise sales tax on a lot of things and really not necessarily helping people at all. It's just trying to rob Peter to pay Paul, and it's just in
Yeah.
line with whatever else has been going on this year. And we
Mhm.
got to do the try to do the veto override for Senator Roundtree's bill today around 1 o'clock.
Man.
And what and the process for that is you need how many votes do you need for that?
I believe it's 30 votes or 33, 30. I believe it's 30 though.
How
But
you feel about the chances?
it's tough. He last I talked to him, he said some people that voted for it, kind of pulled back their support after the governor vetoed it. So it's gonna be tough. I ain't gonna say it's impossible, but it's gonna be a tough fight.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. That always
Yeah.
makes me shake my head when I hear that people pulling back on something because the governor did. Like,
Yeah,
think your own thoughts,
Man.
man. Like you voted one way first for a reason.
Right. Right.
yeah, for sure.
Okay. Well,
Have a
like I said, we'll
backbone.
be able to talk to Brother Roundtree, Senator Roundtree, put some respect on his name on that for sure. Buddy, what's the other questions you have for Brother Senator McKinney? Buddy's having some
Well, I'm just
technical
kind of
issues
curious.
over there.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what's going on, but first of all, good afternoon or good morning. Good morning. Can y'all hear me? Am I?
Yeah, go ahead. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
we hear you.
Okay. Apologize, but just wondering about how confident you are about your priority bill. It's one thing for it to make it through, rounds of debate, but it's another for it to make it through intact. Like, how do you feel the intention of your bill will kind of survive?
I mean, I feel like it'll survive, but they've been bothering everything that got my name attached to it this year, so it, I can't say it's guaranteed or it's 100% because anything that's been attached to my name or attached to a black senator's name has been under attack all session. So I I'm hopeful, I'm optimistic, but we'll see. Once it's across the finish line and it don't get a veto, then I'll celebrate it. But right now, it's just still recognizing that I'll still probably have to fight.
Man, for sure, for
So
sure.
it really is feeling like that in the legislature right now. Anything attached to a black senator is going to get an automatic pushback.
Yeah, they just stand up and just ask the dumbest questions in the world, and they know the answers. Just to ask them. And then even
Man,
for like Senator Roundtree amended his bill based on the opposition, and they still, pushed back, and it still got a veto. But he amended it to answer their concerns, and they still did that.
That's ridiculous.
oh yeah. I mean, it's
Wow.
just it seems like the will of the people, not just black senators, but the people in general, has been receiving opposition. There's some conversation about the medical cannabis town hall. That woman in the chat, Miss Erica Phelps, says, Senator McKinney, thank you for attending the medical cannabis town hall. And that's been one of the main examples for me of the some individuals in the legislature going against the will of the people who voted for medical cannabis. But yet there's been much opposition. Can you kind of speak to where that whole fight is?
That fight will be up tomorrow. It's gonna be a tough fight as well because you got some people who want to follow the attorney general and try to block it. You got some people who, like us, we want it to pass, and then you got some people that don't want to do nothing. And it's an interesting fight because they're fighting so hard against what was passed by the voters, and they're trying to play political gymnastics about it. But overall, I think the bill, I think it should pass. I had a bill dealing with medical cannabis that more so dealt with like social enterprise and social equity, that I still might try to just bring up that amendment just to bring up that conversation that, we could pass this bill, but if it doesn't have any type of equity within it, then it don't make no sense to me, because you're going to have a lot of dispensaries owned by white people, and the people most disproportionately affected are our people. And if we don't put something in now, I have no faith that it'll change later. So I got a bill to try to address that, but I'll probably try to amend it into that bill, and it probably won't pass because it's my amendment and it's talking about
Mm.
equity. But I think it's an important conversation, no matter what.
Now
And go, Paul.
I was just saying. Now you already know you ain't supposed to put that word equity in nothing,
I don't care.
right? Man, you said something a little earlier about the will of the people that just strikes me all the time. You know how it's very blatant how that seems to be something that they just are gonna go against. People voted on something and they think they know better than the people or whatever
Man.
whatever is happening there. That just gets me. Is that these all supposed to be representatives here, but they're not representing in that if they're fighting what everybody voted for.
Well, they feel like people don't understand what they're voting for as far as like the ballot initiatives, unless it's something that they wanted to pass. But if it's something that they are against, they come up with all type of ways that people didn't understand. The ballot initiatives are being funded by all these wealthy people, and it's negatively influencing our people. But they fail to realize, or fail to like acknowledge that they've been pushing ballot initiatives as well, and some of them have passed. So if you're gonna make that argument on one side, you have to acknowledge the other side. They don't like to.
Right. Anthony Rogers right in the chat is saying right now, Pillin just said he wants the legislature to pass medical marijuana legislation. Is this a new turn of events here, brother? Right? I haven't heard
Uh,
that yet.
if he's saying that means it's some scheme, some type of place, because
Mm.
he appointed these people to like the medical marijuana commission or whatever, but it's his people that he appointed. I don't even think we approved them yet, but there has to be another play at here. Just think
Mm,
about, he let LB50 go into law, and then he got the attorney general to issue an opinion saying it was unconstitutional. So even if he's saying that, I would be very skeptical.
mm, okay. Miss Erica Felt in the chat is saying, Senator McKinney, do you remember I brought up Oregon's model of funding education of black and brown people with weed convictions in how to own dispensaries and giving them startup grants?
Yeah, I
Uh,
remember that.
this sound like a good idea to you? Were you on board with that?
Yeah, I think anything to better fund our educational system, but also to ensure that people most affected can benefit is always a plus for me.
Feel that. Before we get into Anthony Rogers, right? He's breaking down that article. I see we got somebody waiting in the wings. Also, look, we're gonna have to find a new time if y'all gonna be driving while we doing stuff. I'm scared for you driving and being on your phone here. Are you good? You okay, Senator Spivey?
Yeah, my husband brought me this really cute handheld device. So like I'm not even like y'all over here and I'm just driving.
Okay, okay, all right. Well, I'm gonna put it out there right now. If you get into an accident, you cannot sue First Sky Omaha over the situation. So I appreciate
Okay.
if you. Yep, yep. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing good. It's a rainy day. I was hoping it would be some sunshine to start the week, but I'm doing good.
Very
How are
rainy. I
y'all?
think we're good,
Yeah.
except for we're having tech difficulties. The rain, I think, is messing up everybody's internet. So we're doing the best we can over here, but not too bad. I appreciate you joining us this morning. We were just talking to brother Senator McKinney about his priority bills, what he thought was going to happen with them, some of the fights that's going on. We know we got 9 days left in the session. So what's going to be your fight in the next 9 days?
Oh, well, my priority bill is in an education package that shouldn't have been an education package, but they are kind of holding it hostage with some other bills that are not widely accepted or popular. It is voted out of education committee, so we will see what it is. But my bill specifically is paid FMLA for teachers. It was originally 4 weeks, and it was originally 6 weeks. We negotiated 4, and then the chair decided to make it 3 weeks and put it in this package. And so it'll be hopefully coming to the floor soon for scheduling. We have like some other major things, so we'll see. If not, then it'll just roll over to next session. And then, of course, I think if 530 gets scheduled again, which has 684 in it, which Senator McKinney and I have been really working to address, which puts our babies in detention a lot younger, has enhanced penalties, more surveillance and oversight from police. And so we've been working with the people that support the bill to try to negotiate. So I would say as that gets scheduled, I'll be focused on that as well.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, he mentioned, Senator McKinney mentioned earlier, he feels like anything that any of the black senators are doing is getting just some pushback just because it's attached to the black senators. And you guys do a lot of trying to figure things out and listen to other concerns like Senator Roundtree just did, and still getting that pushback. So, I'm trying to get a grasp. I asked for details when it came to like the fight that's happening the next 9 days. But how do you guys feel about just in general about how things are going to go, whether or not allies are going to stand up with you? We already looking to next session to figure out what to continue the fight in certain areas. How do you feel like this is going to wrap? Just how you feel like it's going to wrap.
I think, for me, and I'll speak like coming in as a freshman senator, of course, Senator McKinney has more tenure. Um, I was expecting my class, who I spent a lot of time with before the session, to like focus on the things that we said, which were a lot of like economic opportunity, workforce, childcare. Like we haven't debated childcare at all this session. Like we haven't talked about workforce except for repealing minimum wage and paid sick leave. And so a lot of the bills that I brought were focused on economic opportunity, and there are chairs of these committees that will not exec on them, even if they have the votes. And so you really do see the like partisanship in the body, because they won't exec on it because you're a Democrat. And for me, it's because I'm a black woman, and I have been specifically told, like, I think I know too much. And because I do my job and I research and I'm an expert in certain things. And so I think that's the hard part, because I can't manage someone's ego about me. Like, that's not anything in my control. And so I think it's unfortunate that this is what our legislature is choosing to focus on and how they're choosing to move, especially when there's like real issues that we could be discussing and working on, and they just don't want to do it because you're a Dem, or they don't want to do it because you're black, and it's unfortunate. And there's only so much kindness and patience and grace that I can demonstrate before I have to set boundaries. So.
Yeah. Let me ask Senator McKinney that question before I throw it to you, buddy. Senator McKinney, you're in another position because you're second time around here. How do you feel about that?
I mean, I just feel it's, the fight we signed up for. But I mean, I wouldn't lie and say some days are rough and you get frustrated, but I think that's what they want us to be, is frustrated and off our game, and want us to feel like we have no power or we can't do anything. So I mean, I just try to make sure I use my voice and use whatever power I got. I'm the only Democratic, standing committee chair, so I have some power, I guess, and I'm on the executive board. But even then, I'm one vote, but I still just try to let them know, like, y'all, you're not shutting me up, and we still gonna keep fighting no matter what. And they come to me and said, maybe you should be talking, or do you care about your bills passing? I just told them I don't care. Disrespect is disrespect, and my bills don't pass because of that. Then it is what it is.
Man, what a position to be put in. That's wild. Yeah, let me go ahead. I know, buddy, your wheels are turning over there. What you got on top of your mind on this last 9 days we got going on here in this legislature?
Yeah, well, first of all, Tech is still taking on my side, so excuse me if I'm glitching out or spacing. Just let me know if there's any issues on my end. But my mind is going to this prison situation because that's, you're talking about some of the dispositions that you deal with in the legislature. And when I think about that, I think about prison. I've expressed multiple times that the prison system is the new slavery system. It's not like the new slavery system. There's very much no distinction between our incarcerated brothers and sisters and slaves, even down to how they're treated, in my viewpoint. And it's been reported about this $350 million prison now ballooning to about 800 million. Haven't really been able to speak to you since then. I just want to hear your thoughts, senators, on that situation.
Well, last week the legislature voted to continue the process of building a prison that is going to be overcrowded the day it opens. It's going to cost at least double or triple of what is projected, and honestly, it's more than triple because the original proposal was 230 million, and we're already over that budget by 120 million, and it's going to cost a lot more because one, they haven't started construction. They did find a site, but it's outside of Lincoln. But they haven't started construction. I think they probably just recently put out an RFP, talking about labor costs, tariffs, all that. It's going to cost way more than what they projected, and it was supposed to be open this year, but it's delayed at least into 28, and it's probably going to be beyond that. So it's ridiculous, and they're not trying to close the Nebraska State Penitentiary that they use as a reason to build a new prison. So Lincoln is going to be the prison industrial capital of the state of Nebraska.
Yeah. So we just talked about that earlier this morning with the new governor or the new mayor that we have in Omaha, and I just got reminded that we also have a Democratic mayor in Lincoln, and that she got a bunch of pushback from that, with them even threatening to put the jail in a neighborhood if they couldn't put it where they wanted to put it, and the pushback there. And I'm wondering about who's got the power, where's the teams at that can push back a little bit on this if the mayor of Lincoln is even getting pushed back that hard. Senator Spivey, what say you on that issue? I know that you've been out there to visit the jail, and you've been fighting on that as well. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think so. I sit on appropriations, which appropriated the money for the prison. And since this session started, like, that has been the same song I've been singing of, like, we have to reappropriate this money. It's going to be more than what is expected. It's behind schedule. And it is a different environment where we have the Supreme Court opinion with LB50, so prison population will be decreasing. Um, there's from his words, Director Jeffries, a focus on reentry and getting people back into the community. And so, like, we don't need another prison based on, like, what they've said, right? And so I have tried to, like, put together a plan and what does that look like. And I want to be clear, because I think it's important for folks to hold other senators accountable. They did not take that plan seriously. So they intentionally scheduled and move the mainline budget bill and our like transfer bills of how money is done. They moved it to be under the Speaker of the legislature so he can control all of the amendments and how they come up. And they specifically did not bring up my amendments until final reading, which means that if and the budget was on day 80, which it had to be passed. And so in order for me to get a vote or for it to be seriously considered, we would have to suspend the rules, which would, like, tear down the institution. It would open up, like, Pandora's box. They intentionally scheduled the amendment in a way that it could not be heard to be successful or even have a fighting chance. And so I think people need to be emailing the speaker. They need to be emailing folks on appropriations about that, because I have brought this amendment not only in committee, but since the budget hit the floor, where we could reappropriate the money and have a better investment for taxpayer dollars. And so I think, if people are watching, they'll see people stand up and say, like, this is not fiscally responsible and we're not using taxpayer dollars wisely, and we have a choice and we have to invest in the long-term vision of Nebraska, and prisons are not that. And so they are actively choosing not to talk about it, to not engage, and prioritizing people being inside as well as other things that actually don't have a return on investment for taxpayers. And so I think that just needs to be clear so that people, again, outside of, the minority voice, can hold people accountable around how they're investing our dollars and not engaging in like real crucial conversations.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Buddy, did you have something along the lines of we were Rick? I'm thinking a lot about the conversation that we're having about the jail system. Actually, before we get to that, I wanted to jump into a question that Erica Felt said. She says, "I just saw that Bud Crawford interviewed with Shay. He spoke about Omaha 11-year-old shooting and coming out bragging. What are your thoughts on his comments? If you've seen it." The reason why I want to kind of highlight that question is because what we're really talking about here is a fight against that whole detaining 9-year-olds, 11-year-olds bill. What law enforcement is talking about doing, and everything that's said out there, whether it contributes to people's support of it or not, because ultimately the people that are going to be in these jails we're talking about are these kids. What's your thought on that? If you can give me kind
What
of a
what
quick
can
thought on it.
what was the interview? I didn't hear it or the quote.
Oh,
He
okay.
did a he did an interview with Shannon Sharp, and he had talked about youth violence and youth getting out of doing shootings or whatever. I guess my comment would be, I mean, I heard it, but I always would say, it's always more context to the story. The 11-year-old that they're using to highlight, to push a lot of this, was found incompetent to stand trial. He was 11. He was in the back seat, wasn't a shooter. So I think it's more context to the story. And if you just hear it on the surface without getting more information, then you might feel like, yeah, like 11-year-olds are out here wilding. But it's deeper than that in so many ways. A lot of these kids are coming from situations that, you know, they're being failed, and the only solution for people is to punish them instead of punishing the systems and the individuals that put them in those situations. It's not to like say what they did is acceptable, but it's it's also acknowledging that it's a deeper conversation. And he and you know asking like, do we know the shooters or anything? I'm not sure. Bud is in the community. I know he do work with a lot of kids all the time, so I can't say what he do and don't know. But I just think, with that conversation, I think when you speak on it, you got to just provide more context because it's deep.
Yeah, that's kind of one of the reasons why I want to bring it up. You said that before, and it is a situation where they keep on trying to reference something and not giving all the details about it, which is kind of messed up on that. So appreciate you
And I
commenting
just
on that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
and I don't understand why, like, if a 9-year-old, like, just any 9-year-old shoots someone, right? Like, and that's the context. We know that they did it. Like, why would we not say what happened to you? What is the trauma and experience that you are navigating that you could do something like this, and like really unpack that? I feel like it's so punitive, and that's rooted in like patriarchy and like white dominant culture, and it's disappointing that like when community doesn't take that approach, because we know the systems are built this way, right? Like they're built in a way to be punitive, to not have a trauma-based approach. And so we need to dismantle and reimagine these systems in a very different way. And like community really needs to step in, and I feel like that's a part of the conversation that's missing, and not truly trying to wrap that kid in like love and understanding of like what happened to you, and getting you the therapy services and support that you need, as well as like your family and environment. And it's not a black and white issue. It's like very complex, and it's disappointing when we can't have a more nuanced conversation about it.
Yeah, I feel that. I appreciate your comments on that, and like I said, every time they talk about it, I want to bring it up too because there's so much more to it, and that they need to that people need to understand and not just learn something off of one word. It is 8:29 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, if you're just joining us, we are in the Senator Cypher right now. We got Senator Terrell McKinny, Senator Ashlei Spivey joining us. It is a rainy day all over the place right now, and I know that's affecting people's internet. So I just want to apologize for some of the tech issues that we're dealing with. Just trying to get the message through, but I know that everybody who's here is paying close attention and asking some questions and putting some comments out there. So I appreciate that. Buddy is also having some problems on his end, so he's out, but he'll come back on through. Brother Kuwal said, "Nice tie, Senator McKinney." I was going to tell you that too. Yeah, you got the knot on that tie is is hitting.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you got it going on. Appreciate you guys on your way up to the legislature giving this. I don't want to keep you if you know I know you guys are trying to get there, and I don't want to keep you, but I do want to allow for you guys to let us know what we need to be looking out for. Of course, this is the part of the cipher where we're always asking that. What can we do? Which parts do we need to be looking out here for in the next 9 days? If we can, or if we were able to organize folks to come up and give some testimony on which bills do you think we need to be looking at in the next 9 days? What can we do to support y'all? Let us know. Final words on that.
Interim studies.
Yeah, you're breaking up. We can't really hear you. You might have to come out and come back in. I'm sorry. Say again. Okay.
I would say in the next 9 days, it's a lot. More so we're beyond like bill testimony, and like people still could come up, go to the balcony, pull senators off the floor to discuss bills and those type of things. But you still could call and email senators' offices and just you know, the biggest thing for me and probably for all of us is to just push for each of our priority bills to get across the finish line and the things we're working on, but also, push back against some of the negative bills that are still being pushed forward in the legislature as well.
Okay. Sounds good. I appreciate that. We got you back, Senator Spivey.
Is this better?
Yeah, that's much better. Thank you.
Okay. I just was going to say about interim studies. So, we are at the end, I think, as Senator McKinney said, like pushing back still on some of the bad bills, like emailing senators. There's no more testifying at this time, but like coming up there, being on the rotunda, pulling people out. But like I've already started to look at like next session too, and so there's what you call like interim studies or hearings where you can have different topics where it's like invited testimony or people can come and listen or participate if it's open on a number of topics. And so I submitted for like 10 studies. Hopefully all of the chairs schedule them, but I have like around folks coming back home and housing in urban areas, specifically Omaha. So that will go through Urban Affairs, which is Senator McKinney's committee that he chairs. I have some around like child care for apprentices. Senator McKinney and I have one around the parole board and their like effectiveness and reviewing. And so like there are some like really good topics that I think will continue to lay the groundwork for strong policy. So I think folks should be on the lookout for those. And then I would say for me, like if there are community groups or individuals who are thinking about legislation or are seeing issues in the community that we can impact at the state level, to let us know. I've also reached out to Mayor-elect Ewing, and we are setting up some time in July to talk about North Omaha specifically and policy at the state and local level, as well as set up a meeting with all of the Omaha senators and to meet with him as well. So I think, this kind of interim period as we get to the end is going to be really about rebuilding and getting ahead for next session.
Sounds good. Appreciate that. Marlon Harrison in the chat is actually asking about plans to work with Brother Ewing. I'm glad you brought that up. Senator McKinney, you have any specific plans to work with Mayor-elect Ewing?
Yeah. I want to sit down with him, and prior to the election, we had one meeting with all Black elected officials, and I was just waiting until after the election to schedule another one and just get him in a room and just have a conversation with him about what is his plans and all the things he's looking to do as mayor of Omaha. But how can him in that seat, benefit North Omaha a lot more than it has in prior administration. So they're trying to have a conversation with him to just see what his plans is and how can we, work together to make sure, North Omaha is taken care of.
Right on.
Yeah. We've been talking a lot about Mayor Ewing. What about Councilwoman
Oh, good one.
man, having a blink on
Good
her
one.
name. Yes, thank you. Good one.
Yeah, I mean, I plan to sit down with her too. I've told her congrats on her win, and once we get that meeting set, I plan to invite her as well because regardless of how I feel politically or how any of us feel, we all represent our community, and we all should be able to get in a room and sit down at a table and try to find ways to help and benefit our community for the best interest of our people. They'll be in those seats for 4 years, and I'd rather work with them than be working, without them.
Feel that.
Yeah, the other thing that I would add to that, like just from a boundary perspective, Pete Festerson did win his election, and he covers part of like traditional North Omaha boundaries. And so I would just say, and even outside of him, like I have some meetings set up with other county commissioners that were just elected. Like, even though certain folks represent like the boundaries that we live in, we need everyone to care about North Omaha, not just the folks that represent it. And so I would say, for even the people that are watching and engaging, like we got to hold everyone accountable and help them see the value and why if North Omaha thrives, like that's a win for the city and a win for the state. And so I would just continue to push that conversation outside of those, few elected officials that represent
Big
the actual geography.
Feel that. Appreciate it. This has
time.
been floating around, brother Senator McKinney. I think you also shot this around as well. This Omaha Inland Port Authority Innovation District Plan meeting that's coming up on May 21st, this Wednesday, at the Highlander. You have any comments on this event coming up?
Yeah, it's the first of like many meetings to discuss the innovation district that the Inland Port Authority is tasked with developing. And the purpose of like these conversations is to try to just first let people know what an innovation district is, but also allow for the community to express, what they want to see within an innovation district. Because the one thing I've been pushing for is not to try to build something and then tell the community to come, but start further upstream and say, hey, this is what we're tasked with developing, but this is how you can be a part of this and let us know what y'all want to see out of this. So that's the biggest thing for me. It's the first meeting, but there will also be others as it develops as well. So if you can make it, I would encourage you to make it to just kind of get a better understanding of what an innovation district is, and also ways in which you could probably participate and assist with the development.
Yeah. Senator Spivey, I feel like part of this innovation, I think we looked at a map the other day and it looked like some of this innovative district was going to be in your territory as well. What are your thoughts on this, on the efforts to have the community be able to speak on it?
Yeah, I think that's great, and I think it's necessary. Again, I don't think government in itself can lead. It shouldn't lead, especially in economic development. We have a lot of brilliant people in the community that have been doing this work on the front lines, and so I appreciate the approach of being able to have people vision and see for themselves, because then there's more buy-in, right? Like folks are going to want to come and put their businesses there, or they are going to think of something that maybe government couldn't because we don't live there in the same way or participating. And so I think and innovation is very different than like owning a business, right? Like innovation, you are in the market to create a new product that can solve for an issue that doesn't exist yet, which there are not as many Black founders in the innovation space in the same way. Like we are more so in entrepreneurship of owning a business that maybe isn't a market that is already not necessarily saturated but competitive, right? And so I'm excited to think about innovation in our community for like medical tech or trades and innovation. Like I think that there's just so much we can do. Thinking about how AI intersects with that, like And so I'm excited to see what comes out of it and what people can dream. So
Word, feel that. And Cheryl West in the chat says, "What is the status of your amendment to increase the Omaha Inland Port Authority boundaries? Any updates on that?"
My amendment doesn't increase the Port Authority boundaries. My amendment just would allow for the business park to be developed within the Inland Port District. It's sitting on final reading. I really don't know if it's going to pass or not, if I'm being honest, because it's been sitting on final reading for like 2 months. So we'll see. You know, the Republicans have this elaborate plan that if they stop my amendment, they'll be able to pull back the dollars, which is stupid, but it is what it is. I don't know. I'm gonna tell the speaker to schedule it, and if it passes, it passes. If it don't, it don't. To be honest, at this point.
Yeah.
Mm, mm.
Yeah.
Really quickly, speaking of pulling back dollars, I'm not sure if I know it's kind of been mentioned, but wanted to talk a little bit extensively about the budget situation and where the budget is. I know we talked about the state being on a slippery slope, but there has been a budget package that has been pushed. What does this mean about programs, or what does this mean about the future of the state financially? Either senator.
I mean, the state is going broker about a day. But in the budget, they did pull back some dollars from North Omaha, some transfer dollars. So it's about, I'm estimating it's probably like 40 plus million that was supposed to come to North and South, really North and South Omaha in some way. But the budget overall, I think is bad. But Senator Spivey probably could tell you more than I can. But overall, I don't think I've ever voted for a budget. I might have, but I don't think so. But this is the worst ever.
What say you, Senator Spivey? Can you hear us?
can you hear me?
Yes.
Very faintly, yes.
Oh, can you hear me okay?
Yep, got you now.
Okay. I would just add, like, from a budgeting standpoint, yes, we are going broke, and this is the self-manufactured deficit. And so to fill the deficit, and it's really around income tax and property tax. You see a lot of exemptions on the corporation side as well. And so, and again, these conversations around pausing the accelerated income tax, what we give to corporations that actually make sense to retain employers, and we think about like the return on investment, like have been off the table. People will not engage in it. And so I think that is part of the problem. The deficit now is being filled by a lot of cash fund sweeps and taking of interest or money that was specifically on the table through deals that were done before. And the North and South Omaha project is one that they are willing to revisit and continue to take money. They've also taken money from like the Business Innovation Act. They're sweeping like cash funds, and like it took $1 million from a fund from the education agency that teachers actually pay into that fee. And so this is not even something that like taxpayer dollars are going into for a fee. It's actually teacher fees for certification. They took $1 million from that, which is highly inappropriate. And so that's like, and then if you look at the next biennium, what is considered the out years, we're looking at $1 billion deficit that will be in front of us. And so they keep kicking the can down the road. Today we'll be debating some like sales tax and like revenue bills that I think will be really important for people to tune into if they are able to this morning, because they are trying to fill the deficit with new tax burden really on the back of lower and middle class working families. So it's a precarious situation. It mirrors again federal policy and what we see at the administration level, but like the budget can be boring, right? And which yes, numbers can be, but I do think it's highly important because it also sets the stage around what we say we are investing in and is a priority. And we're not investing in education, We're not investing in workforce. We're not investing in like childcare and housing. We actually took money from the Affordable Housing Trust. So like those are big deals, and I think that signals to people what the majority of the body cares about. And again, we need to start holding these folks accountable to that. So I just want to uplift that from like a being on appropriations and seeing and like what they're sweeping. Like it actually is a big deal. And the other thing that I want to uplift really quick is that actually doesn't exist. And so, for example, appropriations got this sheet of paper that had all these different line items of budgets that will lapse. That wouldn't be reappropriated from this current budget year to the next. And there was a line that said 24 million with no context. So I asked for context. We got it a week later. The budget is already on the floor and we're debating. And it has all these agencies that have like $5 million that they're giving back $2 million. So I started reaching out to the agencies to say, hey, why are you not spending this money and why didn't you ask for it to be reappropriated? And what I found out was a lot of the money was already encumbered and so the money is not going to lapse. The agencies are actually spending it, and we accounted for it in our budget to minimize the deficit, which is not an appropriate way to budget. You wouldn't budget your life, your business, anything like that in that way. And so we are, I think, in high people act like, we're like, I'm saying it's doomsday when I bring this up. And I don't think it's doomsday, but I think it's highly inappropriate, and it's going to make us come back for a special session. It's going to make us have further cuts in next session when we are trying to do all these deficit requests and try to manage when we didn't do it correctly now. Like the decisions that we're making in this section are going to be drastic, and I think people are not holding the weight of that responsibility in a way that makes sense and creates fiscal sustainability for our state. So I just want to uplift that from like here's how the sausage is made, here's what's really going on, and the issue with it.
Yeah, I appreciate that, breaking that down.
Yeah. Hearing where the money is coming from, we heard a little bit about prisons, but exactly where is it going?
To sales, to property tax relief, so the governor's property tax plan and his accelerated income tax.
Wow.
And the issue is for like income tax relief, for example, it will, and how it's accelerated, the rate that millionaires and folks that are more wealthy are taxed are the same as lower and middle income. So, right, and we have less money to be taxed in the same way. So there's like inherent issues with the model as well that people are not addressing for that tax relief. And I think for property tax, like people in my district, I heard that every day knocking doors. People want property tax relief, and it needs to be more targeted than this like very general, everyone has the same, because our property and the values are not equitable. And so I think that was the conversation that a lot of people heard around like farmlands versus urban areas and what does that look like. And we have to remember that Omaha carries a tax burden and brings the revenue for the rest of the state. And so when people act like, it's this urban versus rural, in some aspects, it's not a versus, but it's a reality of that the populace and tax base is in Omaha. So when you talk about who needs the tax breaks or what does it look like compared to greater Nebraska, there is a difference that should be equitable. It should not be treated equal. So.
We'll be trying to keep track of that. I am definitely really interested in what's going on with this budget. I appreciate the insights on that. This is something that I haven't been able to come across any of that information. So thank you for the insights on that and just trying to understand what's going on there. Really appreciate it. It's 8:48 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, I think this is a good time to go ahead and wrap with you guys. I know you guys got to get up to the legislature. I appreciate you taking the time with us to do that. We'll get into some other questions and other things another time, but appreciate the ones that you guys have cleared up a whole bunch, and then this next 9 days I think is something that everybody's going to be really keeping their eyes on. And we have some marching orders now, what it is that we can do and help and support in this next coming up legislature as well. So we really appreciate you guys coming on, buddy. You got any last words for the guests?
No, not really. My tech is still teching, so I'm just glad I was able to keep up with the conversation and appreciate you all for your answers and the insight, as Paul said, as always, going along with my man Dave Pontos. We are blessed to have you two fighting for us in the legislature. So thank you. We're behind you, and yeah, keep up the good work.
Right on.
No problem. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's an honor always.
Yes,
Be
yes. Drive
safe,
safely.
you guys. Drive safe. Yeah, we'll see you soon. Peace. All right, there we go, man. Always with the revelations on some things that's happening on the inside. The inside of the building which is the real trip. I can't get your tech is tech, and I can't get your mirror to work back right.
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, we'll switch sides. Hey, yeah, we apologize for all the tech that's going on today. It is what it is. Like I said, it's a really rainy day out here in Omaha, Nebraska, and I think that's really affecting everything. They're on the road in the rain. I think the connection between here and Atlanta is getting messed up because of the weather. It's it is what it is when we're live. But I think that it's still really important to have them on no matter what the tech circumstances, and really understand what's going on. Nowhere else are there any senators that are coming on speaking to the people regularly this way, and there's a real Chad Chimers and Ghost listeners have a real privilege to be able to hear from them directly and be able to ask questions directly on a regular basis, without having to drive out to Lincoln and pull them off the floor and say what you got to say, and get some updates. So yeah, again, I think it's a big highlight of what we got going on with this show. I really appreciate them coming on. And we will have another senator coming on Wednesday, Senator Roundtree. Continue conversation with him. We weren't set out to just have just black senators on purpose. We wanted to talk to all the senators, but we also are very interested in the senators that are doing the work in the areas in the areas that they are working in. They're working for, which is North and South Omaha, and some areas in between. So that has been more important. But we've had other senators on in the past. Senator Megan Hunt was almost a regular back in the day, coming on several times back in the Mine and Soul days, and
Kavanaugh too.
Kavanaugh too, right? So we definitely are looking to speak to some more senators. Probably next session. That is, we'll bring a lot more senators on if they are inclined to do so we can kind of get the word and get some understanding on their end as well. And man, just try to create some togetherness in the legislature. If you watch it at all, if you watch it for 5 minutes, you see, ridiculous accusations and things going on back and forth. And like they say, some of the stuff gets shut down just because she's a woman. Some things get shut down just because they're black. Some things get shut down just because from the north side. That one senator that always talks about the misappropriation of funds when it came to the ARPA funds that came to North and South Omaha, how they need to get that back. That's crazy. I just talked to
build a prison.
Yeah, to build a prison. That's already going to happen. So it's going down. It is what it is, and we'll keep up with them on that. And as we always say towards the end of the show, Senator McKinny really pushed it in my head that you don't put all your faith and trust in just one politician or a group of politicians. It's got to be part of the solution, part of the answer. We have to do things on our own and get together and have some community that really looks out for each other and takes care of what we got to take care of, and then also help get people in the right seats for especially the ones that are creating laws for how we are supposed to live, and allocating the tax dollars that we're paying into the system all the time as well. So it's always a good reminder that that these are the representatives working for our tax dollars in that way, and they have every right to. We have every right to, and they're representing us. That's what it is.
Man.
So, yeah, man. So I appreciate that. I appreciate everybody who had questions. I'm sorry I didn't get to all the questions there. Tech was really kind of bugging me, and I hate to put people through that. Here we go again. Lost buddy to the tech. It's been a rough couple hours, but I appreciate everybody that came through and stayed with us, and just got down. So yeah, man. I don't know what's going on. It's the tech. Uh, it is the tech. Mama Guy said earnest and open discussions with our senators. Yeah, that's you're right. You're absolutely right about that. Appreciate that. Wanda Lewis in the chat is saying the sewer separation project is taking money from every household on a monthly basis. This project has been funded by us years beyond, and the scheduled requests. Each household pays an average of $70 monthly, collected by MUD on behalf of the city of Omaha. When will this come to an end? And where are the funds going? At the same time, property tax is on the rise. She's been saying this. This is a OG chat chimer for us that's
Man,
been saying this since we started the show, talking about that
bring the alarm.
sewer separation project that we still haven't gotten any answers to. So maybe it's time that we really kind of look in to see who's running that and get some answers on that as well. We can start with the senators next time they come on. Senator Cypher in 2 weeks. We'll be talking to them again. And even beyond that, who's behind that? We need to maybe have somebody in from MUD to come and start
Mm-hmm.
answering some questions as well, and
City
try to do
planning.
that. There you go. Tony Johnson in the chat is saying North Omaha is somewhat struggling because we are mainly counting on individuals. We have very few political collectiveness or functioning political groups. True. I definitely think that's the case. Extra struggle when there's not a community to get involved and really kind of get
Well,
behind everything. Mhm.
Well, I have to push back. I can think of two, namely, that are very politically active. Of course, the Empowerment Network, which actually, Willie Barney was a part of the preliminary conversations to get the hundreds of millions of dollars that came to North and South Omaha. And then, of course, the BAA, Senator McKinny is Senator McKinney is a member of the Black Agenda Alliance. So, there's political collectiveness going on if you want to see it that way.
Yeah. We need a lot more. I agree. We need a lot more
Yeah,
organization. But yeah, I mean, things could really be a lot worse. We could have nobody in the seats representing us in the legislature.
that part. That part.
So it is what it is, and we'll keep it going. Last 4 minutes in the show. We'll continue the conversation about the legislature and senators when they come back on in a couple weeks, and also when we have Senator Roundtree on Wednesday, this Wednesday coming up.
Man.
But yeah, just want to kind of get back to the idea here that we still have a lot that's going on, lots to celebrate. The whole world is celebrating Malcolm X's 100th birthday. There's going to be things going on as far as this cultural celebration of his life all the way up till June 1st. So definitely check in with the Malcolm X Memorial Foundation for more information on other activities and things that are going on. We've been in the news pretty hard, bro.
Man,
Malcolm X's daughter coming to Omaha to the birthplace on the 100th to speak. I don't know if I don't think you know how huge that is. The daughters have been very engaged in the life of their father, and they've spent all their time with the organizations out in New York, like the organizations you were talking about earlier in New York. So
Mhm.
the fact that they've taken the trip on the 100th birthday on this big event to
Centennial.
come to the birthplace and speak and celebrate, huge deal.
Man. And can I speak to that really quickly? Because I was actually
Please
thinking
do.
about it. And it's not just like, really think about this. This is a young girl who she's not only returning to the place that her father was born, she's returning to the land that her grandfather and grandmother owned and was driven out of because of the KKK. And she's coming back to that land to celebrate the legacy of her father. Like, we got to put this in its proper perspective. The plantation is burning.
See, literally.
All right.
Yeah, no, you got it. I absolutely. This is why I want to kind of leave off on that. I want to end on that because there is things that are happening that's huge. It's huge. Extremely huge, as a matter of fact. Worldwide huge.
Man.
This is a great picture of Brother Murray as well. And this is the bust that he did for the Malcolm X Memorial Foundation, or the Malcolm X bust for the Nebraska Hall of Fame. Also standing there with Malcolm X's daughter. So the world is watching on this, and there's a lot that we're celebrating, a lot that we're going through locally and nationally. And that's what it feels like, man. It feels like that too. Like you ain't gonna just have a plantation without somebody setting fire to it as well. We can't forget that.
No, I mean, just literally look at it. Like, the literal plantation just burnt and social media is celebrating. But if you look at the grander scheme, the United States democracy looks like it's burning to the ground, and we're celebrating.
Democracy is for sure.
And we're
Yeah.
celebrating.
New name in the chat, Melissa Hooch and Mayo. I appreciate you
Hello.
saying. She says, despite the tech, the senators provided great insights on what we should be paying attention to, things we wouldn't ever know with all the ins and outs of the legislature. My
Big time.
thoughts exactly. That's exactly why we do what we do here and bring them on and keep on working through stuff like bad tech in order to be able to figure it out for sure. So I appreciate your comment. And yeah, you know, it's invaluable. Like I when I tell people anywhere else, and in town too, not just anywhere else. Here, when I tell anybody who doesn't really know that we have the senators on every other week, the last few seasons we had them on weekly even.
Mhm.
You know, they don't even they never heard of it. They can't believe it. They're like, "Are you kidding? Like you're able to speak to the legislature directly?" Yes, and understand what's going on. And it's you know, as far as we're concerned, every senator should do that. They should get on regularly with the people and talk to the people and answer the questions, ask the questions, figure out what the consensus is, represent their representatives. They're representatives. So, you know, it is what it is on that. It's just the bottom line. And again, unless we take their cue, get together ourselves, and take care of what we got to take care of with them in the seats. You know, it's that things could change, things could work under those circumstances in a big way. So I appreciate them and I appreciate all of you. It's 9:01 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, we did stay on for the 2 hours that we do every other week to speak to the senators, and really appreciate the senators coming on and appreciate you guys who have stuck around through the whole show or came in and came back out and provided some good feedback and comments and questions. We really appreciate everybody that's doing that. Let's go ahead and get out of here, buddy. You got some words for the people?
Yeah, man. As always, big thank you to the senators for sticking through these technical difficulties and still, you know, speaking to the people. We really appreciate that. Love you and thank you as always, Senators Ashlei Spivey and Terrell McKinny. And also looking forward to speaking to Senator Roundtree on Wednesday. So definitely check out that conversation. Catch the same time, same place, right here on First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul.
In the morning, hey.
Hey, there you go. But yeah, again, we love you. We thank you as always for tuning in, letting your mind be free, letting your voice be heard. And again, happy 100th birthday to the great brother El Haj Malik El Shabazz. Some might know him as Malcolm X. You know, with that, Paul B.
Yo,
Take it away.
Man, also Friday, we got a special guest. Lakeisha Green from Union Contemporary Art will be back, and she'll be bringing Denise Chapman with her this time. So we got a next couple of days, we got some very great guests coming through. So please stick around for them Wednesday and Friday, same time, 7 a.m. And tell a friend, so we can get as many people in the conversation as possible in order to really have some build some community. And I appreciate you. Pop says another awesome show, great guests and great chat chimers, comments, insights, and observations. See you Wednesday. Appreciate you, Pops. And appreciate all of you, the Maha Tribe elders, for allowing us to be on this land and speak while we're here. Our elders for allowing us to speak before them, and you, the chat chimers, allowing us to speak with you and also dealing with this bad tech today in order to stick around and have these conversations. So is what it is. We're going to keep on pumping with that and do the best we can because we find that it's very important work. This is very important work. Having the senators on, doing that very important work of coming and gracing us with their presence and their openness and ability to answer questions and talk directly to the people. You know, how can we not be hosting that? So we just appreciate them, appreciate everybody, and we appreciate all of you. We talked about guests coming up, so stay tuned for that. And if you miss any parts of the show, please go back to YouTube and check out previous shows or check out this previous show today as well. And do us a favor and go to firstskyOmaha.com and become a member. Hit the join button and become a member and a sponsor of the channel as well. Shout out to the $10 people, the $25 people, and the $50 people. Thank you so much for supporting us and what we're trying to do. We got more things coming. Miss Erica Felt earlier in the chat asked about the end of the season party that we have called the Chat Chimers Kickback. We are planning the Chat Chimers Kickback coming up. Cut a little rug, eat a little ribs, and have a good time. And then also we have the content creators camp coming up this summer as well that we're working on too, and some more changes, some more things happening, and only a few more shows coming up, man. June 12th, I believe, is the last show. 13th, last show of the season, and then we'll be taking that month off and coming back July 15th for what's up?
11 shows left.
Oh, you can count it. Okay, 11 shows left. 2 of which are going to be taken care of this week. So
yes, sir.
Yeah. The countdown begins, and summer vacation is coming soon. So
is that you playing?
Something coming around the corner. When you're tiptoeing around the corner here, that's what's up.
Some is that you?
Smell the barbecue, smell the grill right now.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody gonna have to beat Kimra Snipes on the Domino's table. Somebody got to get her on the 3rd year. If she's the 3-peat this year,
it's a dynasty.
Y'all should be ashamed. Y'all should be ashamed.
Hey, I'm coming through busting it up like the Knicks. Hey.
Sounds good. We will see you Wednesday. Take care of yourself. Stay dry out there and drive slow and safe in Omaha, Nebraska, please.
Peace.
By the way, Vanglorious. This is protected by the red, the